for an incredible treat. I'll tell you what, man, I am excited about this. I cannot believe Allan is here with his book. Welcome, Allan Blain. How you doing?
I am doing outstanding. Super pumped to be here with you having this conversation, Kary.
Well, listen, we got the whole team here, and we this is going to be going off on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Tanisha's connecting the live stream. It's amazing. So let's talk about this book first of all. You have a podcast called Life's Hard, Succeed Anyway. The moment I met you, I literally looked at your screen and I'm like, that's got to be your title, man. What is this book about?
This book is about living a successful life despite the adversity, the challenges, the trials that come every single one of our way. And just using a lot of the experiences I've been through now at 51 years old and a lot of challenges. Some would say more than most. I'm sure there's plenty of people that have had more challenges than me, but the lessons I've learned and am learning, the challenges haven't gone. They're not all in my rearview mirror, by the way. Mindsets, strategies, and just wanting to share that with people to help them.
Your book has some really tough struggles. In fact, Lynn, you, myself, we were all chatting early on in the process. And I mean, you had some serious children health issues, business things. Why do you think that pain, because I know you're a person of faith. First of all, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. Some people are really ticked at God. Some people are really upset in life because they had something tough happen. How do you not get bitter?
Well, it's easy to get bitter. I think that honestly, it's a miracle of God working in my heart and anyone's heart and life to not get bitter. But I feel like, practically speaking, and one of the things God used in my life personally is to help me keep sight of where I'm going and why I'm going there, and to get my eyes off of the micro in the situation, the pain surrounding the trial, the adversity, right? And keeping my eyes up. When I was in the CHP, or California Highway Patrol Academy, training to be a police officer, when you drive fast, they teach you always high visual horizon. You've got to keep your eyes looking way down the road. And believe it or not, it's easier to avoid the hazards right around you when your eyes are looking way down the road. So I think that really is.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'd never heard about that. It's so interesting. So you got some crazy endorsements. Oh my gosh. NFL, comedians, Dove Award. Like, oh my gosh. So why are people, pastors, why are people resonating with this book?
I think, I guess I don't know the answer fully because I can't speak for anyone else, but I believe that we're living in a day and age when people are craving a lot of things. They're craving community. They're craving meaning and impact. But I think maybe above all, or arguably at the top of the list or near the top of the list, they're craving authenticity. When we look on social media, and we don't know what's real and what isn't. Half the stuff is just a facade, right? And so we're sitting here going, you know what? Even the people's life, one minute you see some couple on Hollywood, quote unquote, happily married. The next minute they're divorced, and you go, well, that didn't happen overnight. So what was really happening that we couldn't see? And I think we all just want real. We want authentic. We want vulnerable, and not the masses aren't giving that to us. And so I really believe that is one of the things about the book that wasn't easy for me and for my family. I'll say my family because it's my whole family we're talking about here, to know that I was writing. I just love that I had the support of my wife, Nicole, and all of our children in writing what we wrote, and they support that we want to help people.
This is awesome. You have a beautiful family. Why did you choose this cover? Because I think a book, has a lot to do with the cover. What are we looking at? What are we seeing here?
So the cover, I'm glad you asked. I love the cover. We went through many variations of the cover. And it was something that just nothing was quite landing in my heart and head and mind of what we were trying to capture. And I'm so grateful for my wife, Nicole. I mentioned her earlier, but I say she's the wow and I'm the how in our marriage. Okay. She's got all the great ideas and literally, and then I get to figure out how to execute her great ideas. But anyway, that was her idea, because as I was trying to kind of put into words what was in my heart, my head, of I want a cover that describes what the book is about, going from, and what it's depicting is going from the storm, out on the seas, the storm, whatever that storm is for the reader. We all have various ones. And coming out of the storm, how do we get through it? Right? We're not just going to stay in the middle of it, lay down, stick our thumb in our mouth and cry about it. How do we get through it and into the calmer waters before we enter the next storm? Because more are coming.
Wasn't it your book? I think it was. It said something like, you're either going into a storm, coming out of a storm. Like, in other words, you can't escape the storm.
Right.
So you might as well get the principles. And that's really what your book talks about. Is this true?
Absolutely. Yeah. I liked using the analogy of waves, actually, but same thing. You're either entering a wave, you're in the midst of a wave, or you just came through one. And the reason why I identify with that is just because, and I start off in the book talking about this, but in college, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't grow up near the beach. Well, I went to school near the beach and tried surfing and literally almost died. And I start off with that story. And so the waves have a lot of impact in my life. I understand they could be really fun, or they could be really life-threatening.
Wow.
But I forgot your original question.
Sorry. No, about the waves, going in, out of it. We can't ever get out of it.
No.
Is what you're saying. Like, you might as well find a way through it.
Right.
I love the book. You start there. Where does the book take us? Like, as we get into the nuts and bolts of the book, are you giving us a framework? What are you talking about?
So, it's there's a few facets, I feel like, to the book. One is just by me sharing real life struggles and challenges, from, addictions to deaths to relational issues to physical issues. As you mentioned, I think you mentioned a child with cancer and just other things that we've been through. I wanted to share with the readers that, real practical examples of things they may be able to identify, although their challenges may or may not be similar to ours, is that you can go through hard things and you still can maintain and enjoy a successful life. And a successful life, to me, I think it's probably appropriate to just stop and say that, because it might conjure in someone's mind a successful life, maybe what we see a lot on certain social media posts and stuff. And that's not the big watch with the Maserati, although that may be a part of success. It's financial success, potentially, if it's not leveraged to the hilt. But it's success in our health. It's success in our relationships, our marriage, our children. It's success, in our minds and our thoughts, in our spiritual walk with the Lord, and financial success and freedom as well. But I feel like just being able to share a lot of those challenges we've been through and pulling out and extracting principles that we are learning and have learned along the way that would have made those challenges more allowed us to live a more successful life through the challenges. Could we go back and have do-overs in certain areas, and have prepared us and equipped us, and therefore hopefully the reader of the book, to be more successful walking through their challenges that they may be in the middle of right now, or they may be listening to this or grabbing the book going, hey, I'm in between sets, as we call it in surfing. The next set of waves has not hit me yet, but they're coming. I mean, if you've lived any period of time, you realize they're coming. It may be financial, relational, physical, spiritual, emotional, whatever, but they're coming. So let's be prepared. Let's be equipped. And so that's the whole purpose of the book. Let's equip the reader with strategies and mindsets, and maybe the most important thing, biblical principles that they can apply to live a successful life, Kary.
It's so good. I'm looking, man. You're looking pretty good here, man. Iron Man? What was this thing?
That was just an Olympic distance triathlon. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so just like you said, you can be crushing it in health or you can be crushing it in finance, but massively failing in relationships. So
Right.
your book is really this holistic success. And that's why I like this book. You're not just saying, "Hey, I'm gonna show you how to get a great body and that's it," or, improve your 401k. Why do some people I don't know, this is a tough question. Why do some people measure success in only one area?
I don't know why they do. I think it's easy. I think I know why many men measure success primarily in their financial arena of life, and it's because it's so easy to measure. We get
Mm, that's
yeah,
interesting.
we get instant feedback, right? You know if you're winning or you're losing by the bank account or by the whatever, but it's very easy to measure. It's a lot, and you do certain activities, you see, not instantly
Wow.
maybe, but pretty quickly you see the rewards or the payoff. Relationships, they're not that way. Health isn't always that way. Some of these other areas, it's not so easy.
Mm,
But I'd argue it's more valuable, and
yeah.
it's worth it. So I think that's the reason. It's easier to default to avoid the hard things in the marriage, and avoid the hard things with the teens, and avoid the hard things with the health. Let me just go over here where I can win and get affirmation.
That's true. Wow, wow. Who's this guy, Scott? I mean, you don't have to tell us quite like him, but he says put it this way, "Just tell me about being a mentor." Sounds like you mentor people. Do you get satisfaction from mentoring people?
100%. I've had so many mentors in my life, some that I've never even met, others that I know very, very well, and have spent a lot of time with, that have poured into me. And I mean, God has just used people in my life, in significant
Yeah.
ways, and continues to do so. And I see the value in that. So if I'm able in some small or large way to pay it forward and do the same for others, it's the most rewarding thing. And it's why I choose the career I choose, because I get to do that.
You got this thing going on. I know you believe in this message. Obviously, you wrote it. You believe that it can change lives. We're already starting to see that. What is this whole thing about? This $1,000 giveaway. To talk to us about that. I saw this on social media. Some big is going to happen. Listen up, folks.
Yeah. So, first of all, by the way, I know I'm going to answer your question second, if that's okay. But first, Nicole and I have made the commitment. We wrote this book. I mean, I wrote this book, but we're a we. So I'm going to say we wrote this book, to impact lives and to help people. So any profits from the book, we're giving all that. We're not trying to make money from the sale of the book. We'd love to
Wow.
make money from the sale of the book so we can give it away. But 100% of any profits from the book, we're going to be giving back to a nonprofit, and specifically to the Adult and Teen Challenge, Christian recovery and
Oh, yeah.
addiction ministry. If you're familiar with that one,
Oh, yeah.
Kary.
100%.
Our son, 19-year-old son, will be graduating from that 1-year program on October 21st. So we are 11 days away from his 1-year graduation, and he's doing phenomenal. And that's a success story I did get to write about in the book.
Wow.
So we're super pumped about that. I know that didn't answer your question. I just want to
No,
say
but
that.
that's huge. I had a family member go through that as well. Very, very significant. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So we're so grateful and just giving God the credit for that. But to answer your question, we decided to give away either or $1,000 worth of one-on-one coaching that I would provide, or a $500 gift card, the winner's choice. And so what we're asking people to do, and just I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody that's already purchased a book. So many books have already been purchased, both the ebook,
Yeah,
paperback, the hardback, and the audio book. They're
so
all
good.
available. But anyone who purchases it, if they will take a screenshot of that and send us an email and let us know they purchased it, we'll put you in the drawing to be the winner. And then again, you get your choice of prizes. if you will take a screenshot of something about the purchase of the book or the book and tag me specifically on a social media story, Instagram or Facebook specifically, then you'll get 2 entries into the drawing is how we're doing that, Kary. So we just want to, we're
That's
thinking
huge.
of creative ways we can give back and get people to help us share the message to get the message out to more people. And so we would greatly appreciate any help we can get with that to that end.
So $1,000 worth of coaching, or what? How much?
A $500 gift card.
$500.
Yeah.
Wow, it's amazing. I know which one I would do. I'd choose the
Which
coaching.
one is that?
I choose the coaching, man. Like I've had key coaches that have given me so much more than the dollar, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Well, you know, you got this life that, you know, like I said, beautiful family, 6 kids, 6 kids.
6, just 6. Yes.
Oh my gosh. And you have multiple businesses, multiple streams of income. You got a strong faith. Some people might say, Alan, like, what do you know about storms? Like, psh, you know, sounds like you got it tough. But yet we know as we read the book, there's a much bigger thing going on. So talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, that was really the premise of why I started writing the book is in my coaching and in my communication with other people that were entrepreneurs or maybe, you know, would be entrepreneurs. And we're talking about their goals, their dreams, their desires in a financial sense. And they would have, I started seeing more and more of their limiting beliefs of the thought process like this, Kary, like, okay, kind of what you described. Oh, that's great for you. Sure, you can
Yeah.
succeed in business and this and that and all that. You don't understand my husband. You don't understand my wife or my health or my teenager or my whatever financial situation. And when I finally, a few years back, let down some of the facade, let down some of the ego, and let down some of the insecurities that I have, and I still have plenty of insecurities, and said, you know, what I really need to do is just help people. If I'm going to do that the most effective way, I need to be a little more transparent. And I would start sharing with people, even one-on-one, and then from stages and Zooms, a little bigger platforms. But hey, this is what I've been through. I can understand. And when I started sharing some of these challenges, it blew some of these people's mind. I could almost see, I mean, I saw hope in their eye, hope like, wow, you mean you've been through that? And I'm like, that's just we're just scratching the surface here, buddy. You've been through that and you were still able to have an incredible high performing marriage or an incredibly successful, you know, 7-figure income or this or that or whatever the things were. I'm like, yeah, yeah. And you can too. And so when I saw that, I'm like, man, people need to hear this message. They're starving for this message. They're out there beating themselves up. They've got imposter syndrome. They think their challenges are unique to them. You know, they think they're the only one with a child in addiction or whatever the thing is. They think they're the only one with a spouse struggling with something. They are not the only one. In fact, the more I start sharing and the more I start telling more of the story, people have come out of the woodwork to want to talk to us because they identify with one or more of those things. So that was the idea. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just going to lay it out there in a book and do my very best to help as many people as possible, which then ended up leading to the podcast, which is the same title, Life's Hard, Succeed Anyway, and the same desire and the same theme, if you will.
Is this your amazing family right here?
That is my amazing family from a few years back. Yeah, that's our 19-year-old son, our one and only son there in that picture.
He's 19 now.
Who's 19 now. Yeah.
He's older though?
That's a more recent picture from maybe a year or two ago, or a couple years ago.
Wow. You know what? I see your family here. It looks like you have a lot of fun together.
We have so much fun. So much fun. And I wish it for everybody. I really do. And I know it's possible for anybody because we've been in some deep, dark places and not that many years ago.
Here's your picture of your wife reading your book. I think I remember that picture, right? She's
Yes.
kind of like, you know, you seem like a team player. You know, you're doing stuff together. How important is it that couples, you know, are partners, I guess?
Well, I think it's super important. And it's another reason why I'm so passionate about what we do is because I see too often, or I've seen too often, where couples don't have enough common ground. They don't have a meaningful pursuit together. Their meaningful pursuit together is the children. Well, once the children are gone, well, what's the meaningful pursuit? Now she's got her meaningful pursuit, which is whatever, and he's got his meaningful pursuit, which is whatever. And they're like two ships crossing in the night. And that's not the kind of marriage I desire. And thankfully, it's not the kind of marriage we have anymore these last few years. And I'm just so grateful. So knowing what I know of what we used to have, the kind of marriage we used to have when we were going two different directions for, I'll say, the majority of our waking hours in the week, to now being on rowing in the same boat for the majority of our waking hours in the week, it is phenomenal.
What do you hope happens with this book? In other words, I know it's a big thing to write a book. It's a big commitment, sacrifice, and it's going worldwide now. What do you hope happens?
I hope that it's a great question.
Maybe you're a new author and you're like, I got to think about that.
I hope someone buys it and is encouraged by it. No, in all seriousness, I hope that whoever needs to get it gets it. And I hope that whoever reads it is encouraged in some way. I hope that encourages people, and I'm sure it will hit different things for different people. I have no doubt about that. For some, it's going to hit on the professional side. For others, I think it's going to hit on the spiritual side. For others, it's going to be other things. It could be that health. It could be this, could be that. Because I talk about all of the key pillars of a successful life in the book. It's not just a business book. It's not just a marriage book. It's not just a health book. It's not just a, life is hard book.
Yeah.
So my desire is that as many people can get their hands on it as possible that will be encouraged in some way, and that it would make an impact not only for this life, but I desire to live a life that the use of my life far outlives my life itself. And so I'm just hoping and praying and trusting that it's going to impact people's life both today, tomorrow, and indirectly for generations and to come, ultimately for eternity, especially somebody that needs to meet their Lord and Savior that died and gave their life for him, his life for them, that may not know him.
I'll tell you what, man, I've been through some stuff too. I couldn't imagine the storm without the Savior, like I just can't even imagine. And I hear people say, I heard this the other day. I don't correct people, so I let it go. But somebody said, God will never give you more than you can handle. And, I've heard that before, but it's really not a verse. And so I wanted to tell the person, like, okay, where's that verse? But the thing is, we think that God won't give us more than we can handle. But I honestly think, like, no, he does. He gives you more than you can handle so that we don't trust in ourselves. Like, I'm a pretty bad God. You're a pretty bad God. But yet most people, that's what their God is, themselves. And I don't like the pain. I don't like the storm. But you can't get strong without the storm.
Yeah, 100%. And it's he gives us more than we can handle without him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't give us more than we can handle if we're going to let him handle it. Right?
Maybe that's the truth.
That the way to say it. But you're right. I mean, the storm's not fun, getting pummeled by the waves when you're a novice surfer like I was, and I'm going to say still am. It's not fun. But like my good friend and Pastor Robbie Gallaty, who ended up writing the forward to the book and just did a phenomenal job on that. I was so grateful for him to do that. But like he said, when I had him on a podcast interview, one of the early podcast interviews about a year ago, a little over a year ago, probably now, he said, trials or challenges, adversity, they are the master's degree or the PhD, if you will, in character development. And I just think of all the different things guests on my podcast have said, like NFL wide receiver Cody Hollister, he said some of the, and it might be slightly misquoting, but essentially some of the deepest wells, WELLS, of wisdom and knowledge and insight and character of the people he knows are the ones that have been through some of the most difficult, challenging times, which you wouldn't
Wow.
even know until you know.
That's
They're
right.
not wearing it out on their shoulder,
Yeah.
and they're so amazing people today that you just don't realize what some people have been through.
Folks, we're gonna land the plane here, or move the boat to the shore, whatever analogy. But,
We're gonna dock it.
Jim's saying, "Love you, brother, can't wait to read it." Sean's saying, "Thanks for this amazing book." Folks, we got a bunch of people watching this on many, many different channels, and, I'd love for you to just thank, Allan, in the comments. But, again, I wanna lead people to your website because, you're doing incredible work. Uh, they can find out about all that you offer here. You have coaching, you have the book, you have resources. Ooh, we didn't talk about that. You got 60 seconds to tell me about the upcoming retreat. This looks hot. What is this about?
Yeah, so excited. This is our first ever Christian couplepreneurs
Ooh,
retreat
yeah,
and mastermind that we're co-hosting or leading, facilitating with our friends Ray and Jessica Higdon out of
yeah.
Florida, and it's going to be phenomenal. It's a very, very boutique kind of experience at a couple of our beach houses down on the Panhandle of Florida. We're only allowing, besides the two of us two couples, 7 other couples is
Wow.
all where we have room for. And it's going to be an incredible experience next May 2024. So if
Mm.
anyone's interested in exploring that, definitely apply to be possibly accepted for that.
Top 2% of the podcasts in the world. Man, Allan, I'll tell you what. Oh, I know your guests. I see your guests. That's awesome. Listen, we are so proud of you, Allan, and your family, your kids, your wife. Uh, you got lots of people here. Here's Valencia. We have George. We have Mark. I mean, I'm telling you, this thing's blowing up, man. So, Allan, I'll let you have the last word. You got 30 seconds. What do you want to tell all the people for jumping in today?
Oh, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us on this live. First book I've ever written. Got ideas for other books. I'm not going to rush to write another one. It was a lot of work. I just pray that again this book does whatever it is God wants it to do and encourages those He wants it to encourage. Anything. I just want to thank everyone for joining on this live, or maybe you're watching on replay. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you if you'd consider sharing this and
Yes.
or anything on social media that could help us get this message out. As I already mentioned, I'm not going to take a $1 of profit from the book. Really would appreciate your help getting this word out to as many people that I believe, again, are dying to hear someone be authentic, be real, talk about challenges, many of which they're probably can relate with, and so that they can live a truly God-honoring and successful life.
Take care, everybody. Go get his book, share it. Thanks for being here, Allan. We'll see you.